Welcome to Made in Moray, the podcast that focuses on the successes and struggles of local businesses. Let's get started.
Hi, I'm G. I'm your host, and today I have with me Donald Peace from New Wave Surf School in Lossiemouth. Did I get it right?
That's correct, yes.
Oh, super cool. Thank you. First, thank you for finding time to sit down with me today. And I'd like to go back to the beginning of the business and ask you, how did it start out?
So it started surfing. Really
Okay.
enjoyed it when I was about 21. And at my current job I had at the time as a gardener, I didn't enjoy it too much.
Okay.
And I'd just been volunteering with an outdoor kind of provider doing outdoor pursuit stuff. And they kind of helped me have an idea of starting up a surf school. And so I trained to do that. Left my job actually.
Okay. Wow.
Left my job. Me and Kerry just got married actually, so we did get some money, which kind of kept us going while I trained. I had to learn how to swim properly.
Okay. So you were surfing without
I
knowing
could
how to swim? Or?
but just like not to do the surf school. You have to be a beach lifeguard. You have to do the qualification for that,
Right.
and for that you have to swim. I think it's 400 meters in 8 minutes.
Right. So that, I can't process that in my brain. Is that difficult?
It's
400
not,
meters
It's
in
just a competent swimmer really. And
Okay.
you have to, so I think I did it in 6.5 minutes.
Oh,
The
that's
last time I did it, and I'm not. I mean, I'm quite good swimmer, but I'm not like Olympic level or nothing. It's not anything crazy. It works out roughly 30 seconds a length, I think.
okay.
So on a 25 meter pool, so it's not too crazy, but it's a constant speed.
Okay, that's cool. Because that's because you might have to save somebody, right?
Yeah, well, you have to be to swim,
Yeah.
and get someone out of the water or anything like that. If you couldn't swim and someone got stuck, you'd be in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah. Actually, where we are now, we're doing this interview in the flat that I have, and from the windows of the flat we can see onto the beach. Nice kind of view of the bay area and the beach. You can't see it through that wall over there, but it's kind of and we can actually see you out in the water sometimes with your students and stuff, and it seems to me like it's a kind of big responsibility if you've got like 10, 15 students out there. I don't know how many you take per class, and you have to keep an eye on them and make sure they're all
definitely.
okay.
Yeah, you've got to be on it. It depends on the conditions. Usually groups aren't as big as that unless I've got someone helping me. The ratio is 1:8 actually usually. But yeah, you've got to be on it. Depends on the conditions. So quite a lot of conditions out there are actually quite safe.
Okay.
And some conditions are easy to run groups. It's quite easy to manage. Then some days it's just not as easy if the wind's blowing a certain way or the swell's big or if it's really windy. It can be quite difficult. So.
Yeah, I mean, how dangerous is it? Are people gonna get like pulled out off the beach here, or
it's one of those ones. If you know the sea, understand the conditions, risk assess it, it's not dangerous at all.
okay, if you're able to make that risk assessment.
But if you don't know what you're doing,
then
you can get into trouble. But this beach at Lossiemouth here is not too much. The river goes out there, which can push folk out further than they want to be. But the biggest thing is folk panic if they get into a situation, and especially if they can't swim or aren't strong swimmers, and then that makes it 100 times worse once you panic.
Oh yeah.
If you just relax, stay afloat, and that's the advice actually from
just relax,
stay afloat, and try and get attention.
Yeah,
that's the kind of.
Yeah, but I've seen it when my like my daughter's been out in the water, and she like we got these little boogie board thingies, and she's not in deep water, but she falls off it. and the water might be only like I don't know, like 1 foot deep or something like that. She panics.
Yeah,
Right?
oh, yeah, definitely.
She panics. The whole body goes into the water, and she panics. And I'm just like, stand up.
Yeah. Well, that happens in lessons. Kids fall off the boards, and younger kids in particular, you kind of got to watch them when you first take them in the water. If they fall off and have a wipeout in particular, they can panic and not be able to stand up, and you maybe have to help them. But
yeah, they also, if the water gets in their eyes as well. Like
they get disoriented. It's a disorientating thing.
Yeah.
But, like I say, the best thing to do is relax.
Yeah.
It's kind of and then you can, compose yourself.
Yeah, it's almost counterintuitive, right? Because you want to panic, but you have to relax.
Yeah, and that goes with surfing in general, not just beginning to surf, but in bigger waves. The wipeouts are once you relax, you're fine.
Well, the idea is that you're going to pop up.
Yeah,
right?
you inevitably always pop up.
Yeah.
Well,
hopefully.
I shouldn't say that, should I? It's obviously happened sometimes, but to some folk, they've got caught on things. But that's usually in big wave spots, and it's a different thing.
I was thinking the other day about the films that you see where people are swimming underwater and their eyes are open. Is that even possible? Because like the salt would get in my eyes if I tried that.
I don't know if you've ever cried, G, but when you
regularly,
and a tear goes down your cheek and into your face, you'll find it tastes salty.
Oh, okay.
So your body fluids are about, I don't know this for a fact actually, but I think they're quite similar to the salinity level of the sea.
All right.
Probably because we came from the sea, but I imagine maybe it's linked to that. But so salt water doesn't really sting your eyes. I think what happens if your eyes dry out, sometimes like the salt crystals form, that stings. And, some folks say their eyes sting, but I always question whether it's the seawater or the cleansing products that's in their hair, or sunscreen, or the sunscreen stings your eyes obviously. But,
oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't find it sting. I open my eyes sometimes under the water when I'm going through waves and stuff.
Yeah. And you can see.
Well, if the water's clear, you can see.
Yeah, I saw a note on the beach about pollution levels and something about being aware of riptides and stuff like that. So how does that affect?
The water quality here can occasionally be questionable if there's been flooding upriver. Generally, the River Lossie is quite clean though, unless there has been flooding. But Lossie itself, if there's heavy rain, there's tanks that collect all the rainwater and sewage water, and they get pumped to a sewage treatment plant, so that's all good. But if there's really, really heavy rain in Lossie and the tanks can't handle it, it can go through mechanical pump and out to the sea. So that's very rare, and when it does happen, I tend to avoid the water in Lossiemouth.
How do you know?
Well, just you know, because it rains heaps, so everything's wet.
But in Scotland, it rains a lot anyway.
Well, it's the next level kind of rain. It's the rain where there's a river going down the street kind of rain.
Oh, right.
And drains are overflowing.
Yeah.
And then generally you go down to the sea and it smells interesting, or or it just looks a bit cloudy,
Oh, you can sense something's not quite right.
I mean, the river's always brown with a peat, but it's different. There's the peat colour, and then there's the questionable rainwater colour.
Okay.
It's different.
Okay. Wow. What was your motivation to start surfing in the first place?
The motivation was I skateboard. I always have done. And I met some friends who I hadn't seen in years. We went skating and went to the skate park, and there was someone there about to go to Lossie to surf. And do you want to come? I've got a spare board and a spare wetsuit. Oh, okay. Having thought I'd like to try surfing in the past. And then went to the beach, put a wetsuit on for the first time, caught a wave in my belly, and then that was that. I was hooked.
Wow.
I didn't even stand up, but I was like, whoa, that was actually the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Wow. Well, it was better than the skateboarding at the time.
Oh yeah, well it doesn't hurt. Not the same level anyway. Yeah, it's the rush you get's better than surfing, skating for sure.
Yeah. Keeps you fit and healthy as well, I imagine. Doing
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Always
I like to
swimming.
think I'm quite healthy, but or fit maybe. I don't know.
I think you have. you have to be in that job if you're walking around in the water, and I mean, just that it takes the energy out of
it
you.
definitely does. Yeah, it's hard work.
What are some of the successes that you've had since you started? What are the positive elements for you that you've seen with growth in what you've done?
With the business, or just in life in general?
Well, I'm sure the business feeds into life, and maybe life feeds into the business as well. So obviously the business has grown in some way.
Yeah, it definitely has. I guess when I first started the business, for the first, I don't know how many years, I've never been busy with it until the past couple of years, really. So monetarily it wasn't great, but lifestyle wise it was great. I mean, I could surf all the time, and just meant we had no money. So, but the business has grown the past few years. And last year and this year in particular has been probably the busiest so far, and that's quite a good feeling when you're actually managing to get an income and.
What do you think it is that attracts people to do the activity?
I don't know. It's a tough one. That. There's the image of surfing. It's a good image. Folk like that. Although, like with anything, the idea in your head of what something is and what it actually is are two very different things. So, but it gets people into it. Usually, you'll find it's not what people expect, including me when I first surfed. I remember watching surfing on TV and thinking, oh, looks a bit boring, to be honest. So, oh yeah, that's boring. I'd much rather be skateboarding. And then you do it, and it's like, oh, there's a lot more going on here than meets the eye. Because it's not just standing up on the surfboard. There's a whole. That's like 5% of surfing, maybe less, maybe 1%. So
what's the other 95%?
Getting to the beach, being out in nature, understanding conditions, weather forecasting, wave forecasting, and then so that's before you even get in the water, all that. And then once you're in the water, there's understanding how the waves break. Every day's different, just and paddle fitness, understanding positioning where you are in the water, and different spots all have different characteristics. So, no, it's there's a lot more to it than just standing at balls.
So do people come to the school with some kind of preconception of what it is?
Yeah, you get a mix. A lot of folk come thinking it's going to be easier than it is, and
that was me, I think.
Yeah, and also they underestimate the physical effort involved in the whole thing. And they're tired half an hour in, they're really surprised. But again, that's dictated by conditions. You get some conditions will make you very tired very quickly, and some conditions are nice and relaxed, and you could surf all day even if you're not used to it. So, and then you get folk who come along thinking it's going to be impossible. I know I don't think they're going to stand up. Just coming along for a bit of fun, and then they get the first time there, they get up to their feet and standing on a wave. So, but that's quite a good one when that happens. Actually, happens a lot.
Yeah. How does so how does the weather, because it's an outdoor activity, how does the weather affect the activity?
So weather, as in sunshine, rain, doesn't make any difference really. Wind can play a bit of havoc. It was really windy, especially if it's windy from certain directions. And if it's really windy, your board's getting blown around. Weather in the sense of, so waves are kind of connected to the weather, but weather out at sea causes the waves. So, and obviously that's integral to surfing.
I've seen people on their surfboards, what I think is a long way out from the beach, and it just popped into my head because I can see it's kind of out the window behind you there, and I've seen some people out there on surfboards, and I'm thinking, aren't they worried that they're not going to get back to shore or something?
To be honest, especially when I started surfing, I mean, I was not a water baby and never had any experience of the sea before I started surfing, and I remember many times being quite maybe fearful is the wrong word, but definitely knew my place in the sea quite when I was started, and overly cautious potentially. So yeah, when you're out there and you're not experienced, you're a little bit like, well, what's going on here? But once you get more used to it and you understand the sea and you get really paddle fit, you know you can get yourself out of situations. For example, there's a spot on the north coast I remember surfing years ago where I didn't really know the spot, and when the tide's going out, if you paddle, as a point breaks, the wave breaks up a point and peels only one direction, and it kind of hugs the rocks.
Okay.
And if a big wave comes, generally you'll paddle away from the big wave and round it. But at this spot, if you do that and the tide's going out, it puts you into a deep channel, and you get one of the fastest tides in the world.
Wow.
Up there, and I did that, and I had to paddle kind of against the tide to get back in. But I realised what was going on quite quick. With the fact that I drifted really far away from everyone without paddling, and paddled in. I mean, I was really paddle fit at the time. Well, I generally am. So, but someone who maybe wasn't paddle fit got in a bit more of a trouble.
Yeah, I was.
There is dangers out there.
Yeah.
But the more experience you are, the more you understand spots and what dangers are there, then the more you relax and you don't worry about it.
What about the sea life that's out there? What about seals or dolphins or fish or crabs? Or because I was on the beach the other day and I found this like crab's claw that was almost as big as my son's hand, and I was like, oh my god, there must be some kind of monster out there.
Oh, you get big crabs out there, yeah, for sure. You don't see them surfing. The big crabs, I think, tend to stay quite deep water, and usually next to kind of a kelp bed, and not where waves are breaking.
Okay.
Because then they're going to get smashed on the rocks. So.
Okay.
You occasionally see the little crabs on the beach running around, but you never get a big one that's alive. At least if it was there, it's not wanting to be there.
Yeah, I was out there the other day and was in the bare feet, and I was semi-paranoid that I might stand on something, not quite sure what it is.
On the beach, generally, there's not too much. You get occasionally stand on a fish and it wriggles, especially your bare feet. That can give you a flag.
For sure.
There's weaver fish which you can stand on, which will give you a little. They've got spikes in their back and give you a little sting.
Yeah.
They're a little bit sore, but not too bad, and easy to deal with. Hot water is the key.
What you pour hot water on the sting?
And the poison that goes into it is protein based, and it just breaks down. So, yeah.
I'm going to be paranoid now.
I've stayed on them a few times. And to be honest, Lossiemouth, you don't generally get them actually. I stayed on one this summer, and I was really surprised by it. And it's only at low tide.
Okay.
As well, it's a real low tide. They don't come up any higher than low tide. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But and like I say, you generally don't get them in Lossie. It was a weird one, and I think generally just this summer if you do get them. It's because it's the juvenile fish that are in the shallow water.
Okay.
Once they get big enough, they go out deeper. What
was the point in the back of your mind that made you jump to start the business?
I don't know if there's a specific point. Well, I hated my job. The work wasn't so bad actually. It was the guy I worked for, but mostly. Maybe I don't put that in.
Well, no, you're going to be. I think you're either sort of driven towards something or away from something. And
I didn't get on with the job I was doing, and I guess I was volunteering doing outdoor stuff. With a charity based in Outfit Moray. You've probably heard of them. They used to be based in Albion.
Aren't they just along
the
just like down the road and up the road?
I did a lot of work volunteering with them, and they actually helped me. They paid for my initial training, and I paid them back by running lessons for them. So they were great help. But where was I? I've forgotten now.
It was just that jump to start. Yeah. So
I just it was. I had plenty of encouragement from people around me, and I think I got a Princess Trust loan and a business grant from something that was going on at the time, and just
little things that helped you.
Yeah, applied for that, got the money and started. It was like an interest-free loan, that flexible thing, so it was really easy to. I think it was supposed to take 2 years to pay off, and I think I took 6 years.
Sometimes it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, but there was no worry because it wasn't
Any
costing
extra
me,
charge on
not
top.
at all. So it was great for that, and I just did it. Yeah, like I say, I had lots of encouragement and people around me that were.
Did you have any background in business before you started?
I didn't know none at all. I didn't have a clue about business, to be honest.
So how does that work with the survival of the business in terms of things like marketing?
I had to learn. I did get a business advisor when through the Princess Trust when I started up, and that was useful, obviously. But because I'm a sole trader, quite a small business, it's all quite straightforward. There's nothing too complicated, and the income's low enough. I'm not VAT registered, so things are fairly straightforward. I still do my own tax returns. I've got better at running a business. I was saying about it not being busy until the last couple of years, and that's because I got better at the business side of it, like getting back to people.
Wow, I can't imagine that being a problem.
Yeah, and just in general, running a business, understanding how much things cost and what kit to buy, and just making it a business decision rather than a decision from some other kind of idea.
So when you have to plan for the future, are you looking at, okay, how much can I invest?
Yeah.
And then how long will it be until I get a return on that investment?
A little bit, yes. I didn't do that to start with, so I got this loan and got all these boards and wetsuits and ran with them for maybe 3 or 4 years and didn't replenish any of them. And 4 years in, everything was getting tatty.
Yeah.
The boards were kind of falling apart, the wetsuits were falling apart, and I was like needing to replace the lot. I wasn't really busy then. I had no money. I was like, what am I going to do? So I was in a real pickle, actually. I didn't know what was going to happen, and it just so happened that I'd taken some kids on a surf lesson who were part of a charity group based along the coast, and they'd got funding together and got a fleet of boards and wetsuits for the kids so they could go surfing whenever they wanted. The kids used them a few times, grew up and left the area, and the charity kind of dispersed. No longer existed. So there was these boards, these wetsuits, in the woman who run the thing, her husband had a store because he's a joiner or something, and they were in his way because he was wanting to expand, so she was just wanting rid of them, and she contacted me, and so I gave her money for them that she just donated to charity, but it was way less than what would have cost. So it basically was a lifeline for me. It made a huge, it's like, alright, I can keep going. Good, we've got all this kit. So it was just the right amount of kit. It was weird. It was one of those ones where you just, if that hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't still have a surf school.
Wow.
And because that happened, then every year I buy extra kit. And even if I don't really feel like I need it, I make sure I buy new wetsuits and new boards at the end of the season. Not all, just a little bit every year, and then I never get into that situation where I need all my kit replaced. So. That was a big business learning curve. That just happened to work out in the end.
I think that we all make mistakes when we have businesses at the beginning, and I think that very often we need to make mistakes to get us on the right road.
Yeah. And the benefit of the surf school was that it is quite low overhead. It's quite an easy business to run. So, I mean, that mistake almost ended it. It just happened that good fortune came over and allowed it to keep going.
Well, it's also maybe not just good fortune if you're doing things like working with charities and helping out people and stuff as well.
That came about because of an action that I'd done. So. and she had got in touch with me direct, so it wasn't. Obviously, she was quite happy for me to have the kit, and also done something right there. Yeah,
I think that what goes around does come back around. That if you're prepared to invest in the community and help people out and spend time with people, and from what I've seen in your business, you tend to do a lot of that. And the contact that I've had with you, you've always been willing to put in more time and more effort and more energy into things to help people with their lessons, with their sessions.
So I think with the surf school, it's important for me to not it's a business, obviously, it's where I get my income, but it's important to me not to view it as a business a lot of the time. I did have a year where I was a little bit stressed about it all and wanted to make more money, and it wasn't fun for 1 year when I did it. I just didn't enjoy it because I had that attitude. And then I think the next year I was like, well, why did I start the surf school? It wasn't to make big bucks. It's because I love surfing and I love sharing that with people. And the lifestyle that having a surf school allows me to surf quite a lot and spend a lot of time with my family. So it was remembering that. So when I'm running lessons, I do like discount rates for kids and stuff. And I just, you can go through the figures and think, well, if I charge this, I would earn this, and then the business would be bigger and blah blah blah. And then you could do it all day long, but then you just lose that thing. Like a lot of kids come sometimes that pay less, and if it was more, they wouldn't be able to come, and that would be just such a shame.
Well, there would be no future in that as well, because
exactly.
kids are going to grow up, they're going to get older, they're going to have more money, and there will be an opportunity for them to come back to something they know if they get the opportunity there.
And surfing's such a great thing. It's I think if I didn't need money, I would still have the surf school running. Maybe won't work myself quite as hard in the summer. But it's a great thing. It's a great thing for folk. And
how does it fit in with your family and your kids? Because I know you have kids.
It fits in really well. The kids was, as you know, G, were homeschooled for 2 years. Ollie's now homeschooled again. But previous to that, when they were at school, the trouble was they were at school term time when I wasn't so busy, and then the holiday times when I am busy, I was working all the time. And so in that respect, it was a bit, especially when we were younger. Now they're a bit older, they're actually more into surfing, keen to get in the water. And Hayden, in particular, has been helping me with the surf school a bit. So it works better, and when they were homeschooled it worked fine as well, because term time they were off school, I wasn't busy, we had to spend loads of time doing homeschool adventures and stuff like that.
Well, it's very important. Family is almost the centre of life, the key to everything, perhaps. So
for sure.
So it's nice that it integrates with the business.
Well, it does now. Yeah, definitely. It was probably less so before when they were at school and they were younger. It was, but at those times I wasn't as busy anyway. So.
Well, maybe you were building for the future without realizing it.
Yeah, well that's it. Yeah, I got to spend lots of time with the kids when they were younger because I wasn't busy. And time's more important than money.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Time is key, because you can't really make more of the time, because time just kind of disappears.
Yeah, the kids get old, and Hayden's 16. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, well, they grow up and move along, move on, basically. So if people are interested in getting in touch with you, finding out more about your surf school, New Wave Surf School based in Lossie, how would they go about doing that?
They can go online. I've got a website, newwavesurf.com. Lots of details on there, some nice pictures. I think there's a couple of videos too. I think I don't know if it's still there's a nice cheesy video of promoting Lossiemouth. Yeah. And I think I say some cheesy line like, the surf's up in Lossie. And I stick my thumbs up, and it's quite good. There's some nice music from the folk club on there too. So there's a website, there's Facebook on there, you can search that, Instagram as well. And just get in touch with that. Phone me, email me, Facebook me.
Yeah,
Signal, whatever.
Anyway, you see him on the beach actually, in the green T-shirt on the beach.
Yeah, I've usually got a green one. I thought it might change because I'm getting a bit haggard now. But yeah, you'll see me on the beach or down at the hut. I'm there all summer long, and then in winter months tends to just be weekends. But you usually find me.
Super. If there was one thing that you wish local people could do to help out with your business and surfing in the area, what would it be? If there's one thing that you'd like to see change or develop or grow?
Well, I don't know.
No, I know it's a big. Just try it, basically.
Yeah, just try it. Yeah, honestly, that's probably the key. A lot of folk who just try it get hooked and think, wow, this is amazing. Because it is an amazing thing. And so even if you don't I think in my time of doing surf lessons, I've maybe had, I think, one person who didn't like it that much,
Mm-hmm.
and that wasn't, they hated it. That was it was okay, but not for me. But everyone else has loved it, whether they come back or not.
Yeah.
This one time, everyone enjoys their time in the water.
Do you ever get any business groups coming, or does that not happen?
A little, I think maybe a couple of groups come from the RAF occasionally.
Yeah, they're sort of more orientated towards the adventure sort of
So,
activity.
I haven't really had any kind of corporate.
Because I think that would be good for them, because it's getting out, it's a healthy activity, it's a challenge, it's maybe getting over some personal fears of water, being out in nature, the environment. There's a whole area to explore there. So I definitely recommend that businesses look at that as a challenge, or maybe even a gift to some employees.
Really, and the employees go out together, and it's it's that whole,
it's all bonding experience,
bonding, team building kind of thing. And I don't like the word team, the idea of team building.
It's overused,
but
isn't
bonding,
it?
definitely. You do something fun together, and it makes you more relaxed when you're working together, isn't it?
Well, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, pulling skills, seeing people in a different environment out of the
and
office.
in lessons as well, I try and encourage a kind of quite a positive environment. So folk tend to respond to that quite well, and cheer each other on for waves, and they're it's quite a supportive kind of thing you end up creating, as opposed to like laughing. You still laugh at each other when you fall, but it's you encourage each other to do well.
They do. I've seen people pull together, and
it's great actually when you have kids coming, or adults even coming back regularly, and then there's people that don't know in the water, yet they encourage each other and cheer each other on, and are happy when they see each other standing up. And it's a really good feeling. Yeah, I try and encourage people not to be competitive when it comes to surfing.
Well, it's. I don't see it that way at all, actually. It's very interesting. A lot of sport people see as like really competitive and out there to win, but this is not really about that.
You get that a little bit of folk compete against each other in their heads a little. And I mean, obviously you get competitive surfing. I do compete myself sometimes in the Scottish events. And we run a competition for the kids actually a lot on the beach along the coast. I do encourage kids to involve with that, but it's more the whole getting together with other surfers from all around Scotland, and that's the good thing about that. And also in a competition, be a competitive in your heat maybe, or but be competitive against yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not with other people.
Yeah.
So that's I try and encourage that kind of.
The only person that you need to be better than is yourself.
Yeah, we have to
yesterday.
be as good as you can be.
Yeah.
And if that's what you do, then that's going to be good enough.
Absolutely. I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're a busy person, so thank you very much for coming here today, giving me the information, giving me the time, putting in energy into the business that you do and helping the local community, and hopefully I'll see you out on the beach at some time soon.
Some waves this Sunday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sunday.
Well, hopefully. Looks good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. You always just send me a little, send me a little message. I'll be looking at those. What's that? The website with all the surf information on it.
Magic Seaweed.
Magic Seaweed. What a great name for a website. Great. Thank you again, and speak to you soon.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you.
Made in Moray is a product of the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching. Book a free online personal or professional development consultation today. What are you waiting for?